What you're about to hear kept me awake for 3 nights straight. 8 police officers, 1 terrified driver, and a trunk that was slowly opening in the darkness. This isn't fiction. This happened to real people. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why some encounters with law enforcement leave scars that never fully heal. Welcome to American Gothic, the channel where we explore the darkest corners of real American experiences. Tonight, we're diving into something that makes even the bravest people's blood run cold. Police encounters that cross the line from normal to nightmare. Before we begin, I need to tell you something important. These stories come from real people, real victims, real survivors. The names have been changed, but every single detail you're about to hear actually happened. And fair warning, some of these encounters will make you question everything you thought you knew about safety, about authority, about who you can trust when you're alone in the dark. So lock your doors, turn up the volume, because we're about to enter a world where the people sworn to protect us sometimes become the very thing we need protection from. Setting the scene. Let me take you back to a quiet November night. It's 11 p.m. The streets are empty. Most people are already in bed, dreaming peacefully. But for Officer Mike Henderson, the night shift is just beginning. Mike's been on the force for only 8 months. He's still new enough that every call makes his heart race a little faster, still green enough that he follows procedure to the letter. And tonight, that inexperience might have saved his life. The call comes through dispatch. Noise complaint. Single address in a residential neighborhood. Seems routine enough. Mike acknowledges the call and starts driving toward the location. The first red flag. As Mike pulls up to the address, something feels off immediately. The house looks wrong. Not dangerous necessarily, just wrong. The windows are all covered, every single one. Heavy shades blocking out any view inside. The grass in the front yard hasn't been cut in months, maybe longer. It's grown so high that it's starting to fall over itself, and there are no cars in the driveway. No signs of life at all. Mike sits in his patrol car for a moment, just observing. This is what they taught him at the academy. Always assess before you approach. He doesn't hear any noise, no music, no shouting, nothing that would justify a noise complaint. But someone called it in, so he has to investigate. Mike gets out of his car and walks up the driveway. His hand instinctively moves closer to his belt, hovering near his weapon. Not because he's scared, just prepared. That's what he tells himself anyway. The neighbor's warning. Mike rings the doorbell. Nothing. He knocks. Still nothing. He's about to knock again when he sees movement from the corner of his eye. A car is pulling into the driveway next door. A woman gets out, middle-aged, carrying groceries. Mike waves to her and walks over. "Excuse me, man. Do you know your neighbors?" Mike gestures to the house behind him. The woman's face changes. It's subtle, but Mike notices. A slight tightening around her eyes. A hesitation before she speaks. "Nobody lives there, officer. That house has been empty for over a year, maybe longer." Mike feels a chill run down his spine. "Are you sure? Has anyone ever been there? Have you heard any noises?" The woman shakes her head firmly. "No, never. The place is abandoned." "Why? What's going on?" "Just following up on a call. Thank you for your time." Mike tries to sound casual, but his mind is racing. If nobody lives there, who called in the noise complaint? And more importantly, who gave this address? The sound inside. Mike walks back to the house. He's ready to leave, to mark it as a false call, when he hears it. Footsteps, clear as day. Someone inside the house is walking, moving away from the front door, heading toward the back. Mike's training kicks in. He knocks again, harder this time. "Police! Open the door!" Nothing, but he knows what he heard. Someone is definitely inside. Mike makes a decision. He's going to check the perimeter, see if there's another entrance. Maybe a back door that's easier to access. Maybe signs of forced entry. The discovery: the backyard is overgrown, even worse than the front. Weeds and bushes have taken over completely. Mike has to push through branches just to make his way around the house. It's dark back here, really dark. The nearest streetlight is 2 houses away, and the overgrown trees block most of the ambient light. Mike pulls out his flashlight and scans the area. Nothing seems out of place. No broken windows, no jimmied locks. Just an old, abandoned house, slowly being reclaimed by nature. Mike spends about 5 minutes checking everything. Then he heads back toward the front. That's when he hears it. Crash! The sound of something breaking. Something big, like glass shattering and wood splintering. It's coming from inside the house, and it's loud, really loud. Mike runs to the front door. His heart is pounding now. This is what the noise complaint was about. This is why someone called. He pounds on the door. "Police! Open up, now!" The noise stops immediately, like someone flipped a switch. The house goes completely silent. The chase. Mike is standing on the front step, trying to decide his next move, when he hears the back door open. He doesn't hesitate. He sprints around the house, faster than he's run since the academy. His flashlight bounces wildly as he moves. Branches scratch his face and arms. He doesn't care. When Mike reaches the backyard, he sees him. A man, standing at the very edge of the property, right where the yard meets the woods. "Stop! Police!" Mike yells. The man doesn't even turn around, doesn't acknowledge Mike at all. He just keeps walking, not running, walking like he has all the time in the world. Like he knows something Mike doesn't. The man enters the woods. Mike chases after him, but the forest is thick, really thick. The trees grow close together here, their branches intertwining overhead. The undergrowth is dense, with bushes and fallen logs and who knows what else. Mike can barely see 3 feet in front of him, even with his flashlight. He calls out again. "Stop! I just want to talk!" For a moment, Mike thinks he hears movement ahead. Branches breaking, leaves crunching. He moves toward the sound, but then everything goes quiet. Completely quiet. No footsteps, no breathing, nothing. Mike searches for 10 minutes, sweeping his flashlight back and forth, listening for any sound. But the man has vanished, like he was never there at all. The aftermath. When backup arrives, they search the house together. The back door is wide open. Inside, the place is trashed. Someone took a bat or a pipe or something heavy and just destroyed the kitchen. Cabinets smashed, dishes shattered, even the sink is cracked. But there's no sign of the man. No fingerprints they can use. No evidence of who he was or why he was there. Mike writes up his report, marks it as an attempted vandalism with suspect at large. The case goes cold almost immediately. There are no leads, no witnesses except Mike. and the man he saw was just a shadow in the dark. To this day, Mike still thinks about that night, about the man who disappeared into the woods, about how he moved with such confidence, like he knew every inch of that forest, like he'd been there before, like he'd be back again. And sometimes, late at night, when Mike is on patrol, he drives past that abandoned house. The windows are still covered, the grass is still overgrown, and Mike wonders if the man ever came back, if he's still there in that empty house, waiting in the darkness. A quiet afternoon. Sarah Mitchell was in her backyard, enjoying a rare, quiet afternoon. Her kids were at school. Her husband was at work. For once, she had the house to herself. She was tending to her garden, pulling weeds and watering plants, when she heard a car pull into her neighbor's driveway. Sarah thought nothing of it at first. Her neighbor Jessica had mentioned going shopping that morning. This was probably her coming back. But something made Sarah curious. Maybe it was intuition. Maybe it was just boredom. Either way, she climbed up on the fence to peek over, just to see if Jessica was back. Maybe they could have coffee together. What Sarah saw made her blood run cold. The wrong car. The car in the driveway wasn't Jessica's. It was an older silver sedan. Nothing special about it, but definitely not the SUV that Jessica drove. Sarah quickly climbed down from the fence and moved to a knothole in the wood, a small gap that gave her a better view without being obvious. She wanted to see who was there without being seen herself. A man got out of the car. He was wearing what looked like a police uniform. Dark blue shirt, dark pants, a belt with equipment on it. But something was off. The man was holding a taser. Just a taser, nothing else. No gun, no radio, no badge that Sarah could see. And his belt looked wrong. It was too empty. Real police officers carry all sorts of equipment. This guy just had the taser. Sarah felt her stomach tighten. She lived in a small town. She knew most of the local police officers by sight. She'd lived here for 12 years, and she'd never seen this man before. The performance. The man walked up to Jessica's front door. He looked confident, professional, like he belonged there. He knocked firmly, 3 sharp raps. Nobody answered. Jessica and her husband were both at work. The house was empty. The man waited. Then he did something that made Sarah's skin crawl. He started looking in the windows, peering through the glass, trying to see inside. After about 30 seconds, he walked back to his car. But he didn't leave. He just stood there, looking at the house, looking up and down the street, like he was deciding something. Sarah pulled out her phone. Her hands were shaking so badly, she almost dropped it. She texted Jessica immediately. "There's a man at your house, wearing a police uniform, holding a taser. I don't recognize him. Doesn't look right. Be careful." The husband arrives. Less than 5 minutes later, Jessica's husband Tom pulled up to Sarah's house. He looked worried, scared even. "Did you see him?" Tom asked immediately. "Yes, he was here maybe 10 minutes ago. Looked like police, but something was wrong." Tom pulled out his phone. "I saw it on our doorbell camera. I was on my way home when the alert came through. Look at this." He showed Sarah the footage. There was the man in the police uniform, walking up to the door, holding the taser exactly like Sarah had described. Knocking, waiting, looking around. "I'm calling the sheriff," Tom said. The investigation. The deputy who responded was young but thorough. He watched the doorbell footage 3 times, asked Sarah to describe everything she saw, took notes carefully. "This isn't one of ours," the deputy said finally. "That's not a sheriff's vehicle, not even close. And if someone was serving papers or doing official business, they'd be in a marked car, with a partner. This guy's alone in an unmarked sedan." "What do you think he wanted?" Sarah asked. The deputy's face was grim. "Nothing good. The uniform isn't quite right either. It looks like police from a distance, but up close, it's wrong. The patches are in the wrong place. The belt is all wrong. This is someone pretending to be law enforcement." Tom and Jessica looked at each other. The same thought was clearly running through both their minds. What would have happened if someone had been home? If their teenage son had answered the door? "We'll patrol the area more frequently," the deputy promised. "And I'll file a report. Get this footage out to other departments. But I have to be honest with you. If this person is smart, they're long gone by now. And we have very little to go on. No license plate visible in the footage. No clear shot of his face." That night, Tom installed 3 more security cameras, motion sensor lights in the backyard, new locks on all the doors, but the cameras and locks couldn't stop the fear. Every time a car drove slowly down their street, Jessica felt her heart race. Every knock on the door made Tom reach for his phone, ready to call 911. Sarah started keeping a closer eye on the neighborhood, watching, waiting, wondering if the man in the fake uniform would come back. Weeks passed, then months. No sign of the man. No reports of similar incidents in nearby towns. But Jessica still checks the doorbell camera every time it sends an alert. Tom still makes sure all the doors are locked twice every night. And Sarah still watches the street through that knothole in her fence. Because they all know the truth. The man in the fake uniform is still out there somewhere, and they have no idea what he wanted, or why he chose their house, or if he'll ever come back. Friday Night Freedom. 17-year-old Marcus Webb loved Friday nights when his parents were out of town. It didn't happen often, maybe 3 or 4 times a year, but when it did, Marcus felt like he had the whole world to himself. His parents both worked for the same company. Sometimes they had to travel together for conferences. Marcus's older brother was away at college, so a few weekends a year, Marcus got the house completely to himself. The routine was always the same: order pizza, play video games, stay up until he literally couldn't keep his eyes open anymore, usually around 1 or 2 in the morning. This particular Friday night in October was no different. Marcus had been home from school for a few hours. He'd ordered his pizza, set up his gaming station in the living room. He was planning to marathon his favorite game until he passed out on the couch. The neighborhood was nice, upper-middle-class suburb, low crime, good schools. Marcus's parents had moved here specifically because it was safe. They felt comfortable leaving him alone for a weekend. Marcus felt safe too. Until 10 o'clock that night. The knock. Marcus was deep into his game when he heard the knock. 3 firm raps on the front door. He paused the game immediately. His heart rate kicked up a notch. They didn't get many visitors, especially not at 10 p.m. on a Friday night. Marcus went to the front window and carefully looked out. He didn't want to be obvious about it, but he wanted to see who was there before he opened the door. A police officer was standing on the front step. Marcus felt a wave of relief. It was just a cop, probably nothing serious. Maybe a car had been broken into in the neighborhood, or maybe there was some kind of community notice. The officer looked over and saw Marcus in the window, smiled, waved in a friendly way. He looked nice enough, professional, nothing scary about him. Marcus went to the door and opened it. "Hey there," the officer said. His voice was pleasant, casual. "Sorry to bother you so late. I'm looking for a suspect in the area. Wanted to check if you'd seen or heard anything unusual tonight." Marcus shook his head. "No, sir. I haven't seen anything." The officer nodded. "Good. That's good. Are your parents home? Or anyone else?" Marcus hesitated for just a second. But this was a police officer. You're supposed to tell cops the truth, right? "No, I'm home alone tonight. My parents are out of town." "I see." The officer's expression didn't change, but something in his tone shifted, just slightly. "Well, I don't want to alarm you, but we believe the suspect might be hiding in someone's backyard, in this area. Would it be okay if I took a look around your property? Just to make sure." Marcus nodded. "Yeah, sure. That's fine." The officer smiled again. "Thanks. I appreciate your cooperation." Then he left, walking around the side of the house toward the backyard. Marcus closed the door and went back to his game. He felt a little creeped out, knowing there was some criminal in the neighborhood. But having a cop right there checking things out made him feel safer. About 20 minutes later, there was another knock on the door. The second visit. Marcus went back to the door. The same officer was standing there. "Sorry to bother you again," the officer said, "but I need to ask you something. We're coordinating with the FBI on this. It's part of a bigger investigation. I need you to go unlock your back door and then stay away from that part of the house. Don't go back there for any reason. Can you do that for me?" Marcus felt confused. "Why do I need to unlock the back door?" The officer's face remained neutral, professional. "I can't get into details. This is an active investigation. But I need you to trust me. Unlock the back door and stay away from that area. We'll have this resolved by morning. You're probably safe, but we need access to that door. Okay?" Something felt wrong. But this was a police officer, and he'd said FBI. Marcus didn't know much about how investigations worked, but maybe this was normal? "Okay," Marcus said slowly. He went to the back door and unlocked it. Then he went back to the front door and told the officer it was done. "Good, thank you. Someone will be in touch." The officer turned and left. Marcus stood in the doorway for a moment, watching the officer walk away. Then he closed the door and locked it. Growing paranoia. Marcus tried to go back to his game, but he couldn't focus anymore. His mind kept racing. Why did they need the back door unlocked? Were they going to use his house as some kind of base? Was that normal? And why hadn't the officer told him anything specific? No description of the suspect, no warning about what to look out for. just vague mentions of an investigation. An hour passed. Marcus kept glancing toward the back of the house, toward the unlocked door. He felt exposed, vulnerable. Finally, at almost midnight, he couldn't take it anymore. He looked out the back window. The backyard was empty. No police. No one at all. Just darkness and the fence at the edge of the property. Marcus's hand started shaking. Something was very wrong here. If there was really a big investigation happening, wouldn't there be more cops? Wouldn't they have told him more? He pulled out his phone and called the local police department. "I need to report something," Marcus said when the dispatcher answered. "There was a police officer at my house tonight. He said he was looking for a suspect, and he told me to unlock my back door. But I don't see any cops outside. I'm starting to think something's wrong." There was a pause on the line. Then, "Can you describe this officer?" Marcus did his best. The uniform, the way the man talked, everything he could remember. Another pause, longer this time. "Sir, we don't have any officers in your area tonight, and we definitely wouldn't ask a resident to unlock their door and leave it unsecured. The person you talked to was not a legitimate police officer. Lock that door right now. We're sending a unit to your location immediately." Marcus's blood turned to ice. He dropped the phone and ran to the back door. His hands fumbled with the lock. It felt like it took forever, but finally he got it secured. He stood there, breathing hard, staring at the door. Had someone tried to get in while it was unlocked? Was someone out there right now, watching the house? Real police arrive. When the actual police arrived, the difference was obvious. Everything about them was more professional. Their uniforms looked right. They had proper badges. Multiple officers in marked cars, radios crackling with official chatter. They searched the property thoroughly, checked every window, every door, looked for signs of tampering or attempted entry. "Whoever this person was, they're gone now," one of the officers told Marcus. "But you did the right thing calling us. This was definitely someone trying to gain access to your house. The unlocked back door would have given them a perfect entry point. Probably planning to wait until you were asleep." Marcus felt sick. He thought about what could have happened. Going to sleep with the back door unlocked, waking up to find someone in the house, or not waking up at all. The police stayed for another hour. They filed a report, gave Marcus their direct numbers, told him to call immediately if anything else happened. After they left, Marcus locked every door twice, checked every window, turned on every light in the house. He didn't sleep that night, not even a little. He just sat on the couch, staring at the front door, waiting for morning. When his parents came home Sunday evening, Marcus told them everything. His mother cried. His father called the police station and demanded updates. But there were no updates, no leads. The fake officer had vanished. To this day, Marcus still thinks about that night, about how close he came to something terrible, about how easy it was for someone to put on a uniform and become trustworthy. He's 24 now, lives in a different city, but he's never home alone without multiple locks engaged, without his phone charged and within reach, without that small voice in the back of his mind reminding him that not everyone in a uniform can be trusted. These stories are real, the people in them are real, and the danger they faced was absolutely real. We want to believe that people in positions of authority will always protect us, that uniforms equal safety, that badges mean trustworthiness. But sometimes the uniform is fake. Sometimes the person behind the badge has darker intentions. Sometimes the very people who are supposed to protect us become the threat. So what can you do? How can you protect yourself? First, you have the right to verify any police officer's identity. You can ask for their badge number. You can call the police station to confirm they're legitimate. A real officer will never be offended by this. Second, trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Don't ignore that feeling in your gut. Don't talk yourself out of being cautious. Third, never unlock your door for anyone if you're alone. Even if they claim to be law enforcement, even if they have a seemingly legitimate reason, make them wait while you verify their identity. And finally, remember that it's always okay to call 911 if you feel unsafe. Even if you're not sure, even if you think you might be overreacting, the real police would rather respond to a false alarm than arrive too late to help. If these stories affected you, leave a comment below. Share your own experiences if you feel comfortable, and subscribe to American Gothic for more true stories that will make you think twice about the world around you. Stay safe out there, and remember, not everything is as it seems in the darkness. Until next time, this is American Gothic.